titles. Dear friends, my name is Dr. Tushar Mandlikar and I have created this channel for the benefit of the young lawyers in this country. We are discussing various provisions of the law and the case laws. If you are interested in law or if you are a student of the law, please join my channel. Dear friends, today we are going to discuss the provisions of the Civil Procedure Code 1908 by which the suit can be amended. As we all know, civil suit in fact is a right of the plaintiff by which he can seek several types of reliefs including the declaration or mandatory injunction. Dear friends, when the suit proceeds further and if the plaintiff realizes that he has to amend the suit, then he has a right. He can file an application under Order 6, Rule 17 and amend the suit. As a general rule, leave to amend will be granted so as to enable the real question in issue between the parties to be raised on the pleadings, where the amendment will occasion no injury to the opposite party, except such as he can sufficiently be compensated for the amendment made by the orders. Technicalities of law should not be permitted to hamper the court in the administration of the justice between the parties. Generally, the amendments are allowed in the pleadings to avoid uncalled or multiplicity of the litigation. Any such amendment, if it is carried out within a time frame, must be allowed to be amended. When the law confers discretion upon an authority, it is expected that the discretion will be exercised in a judicious manner. The court can take the notice of the subsequent event and can grant appropriate relief in the interest of the justice. All amendments ought to be allowed which satisfy two conditions. One, of not working injustice to the other side, and two, being necessary for the purpose of determining the real question in the controversy between the parties. Therefore, the main points to be considered for the parties to allow the amendment in pleadings are: firstly, whether the amendment is necessary for the determination of the real question of controversy between the parties, and second, whether if the amendment is allowed, can it cause any prejudice to the opposite party. The courts will have to consider the proposed amendment on these two parameters. The first condition which must be satisfied before the amendment can be allowed by the court is whether such amendment is necessary for determination of the real question and controversy. If that condition is not satisfied, the amendment should not be allowed, even though the court may think that the party seeking the amendment will not be able to prove the amended plea. This is the basis and the basic test which will govern the court's unhindered powers of the amendment to be allowed. The second condition is also equally important, according to which no amendment will be allowed which will cause injustice to the opposite party. It is a settled law that the amendment can be allowed if it can be made without injustice to the other side. There is another cardinal principle of law, that if in the event the amendment is allowed and great injustice is caused to the defendant, then such amendment can be disallowed. Or in most of the time, if the amendment is allowed and the defendant can be compensated, then the compensation is allowed and the amendment is allowed. When leave to amend can be refused, dear friends, while practicing at the civil side, you will have to consider this issue many times dealing with the civil suits. Either you are appearing for the plaintiff or for the defendant. The leave to amend can also be refused on following grounds. One, where the amendment is not necessary for the purpose of determining the real question of dispute between the parties. Where it is found that it is merely technical or it is useless or of no substance. Number two, when the plaintiff's suit would be wholly displaced by the proposed amendment. Number 3, where the effect of the amendment would take away from the defendant a legal right which has accrued to him by lapse of the time. Number 4, where the amendment would introduce a total different, new and inconsistent case and the application is made at the late stage of the proceedings. If the amendment is made at the very late stage of the proceedings, then it should be refused. Number 5, where the application for amendment is not in good faith. Subsequent events. Dear friends, as a general rule, every litigation must be determined on the basis of the facts existed on the date of the filing of the suit. A court may, however, take into account subsequent events in order to shorten the litigation or to preserve, protect and safeguard the right of the both parties. For that purpose, a court may allow amendment in the pleadings of the court. Plaintiff can also amend the pleadings and the defendant can also amend the pleadings. Merits not to be considered. While considering whether an application for amendment should or should not be allowed, the court should not go into the correctness or falsity of the case in amendment. The merits of the amendment sought to be incorporated by way of amendment are not to be judged at the stage of considering the prayer of the amendment. Many of times we find that the parties argue that the proposed amendment is meritless and in fact is not necessary. The prayer is required to be considered not on the basis of the contents of the merits of the proposed amendment, but on the basis of the need of that particular amendment. In the case of Rivejetu Builders and Developers versus Narayan Swamy Sons and others, reported in 2009-10 SCC 84, the Honorable Supreme Court has laid down the factors to be taken into consideration while allowing or rejecting the application for the amendment. The Honorable Supreme Court has laid down following criteria. 1. Whether the amendment sought is imperative for the proper and effective adjudication of the case. 2. Whether the application for amendment is bona fide or mala fide. 3. The amendment should not cause such prejudice to the other side which cannot be compensated adequately in terms of money. 4. Refusing amendment would in fact lead to injustice or lead to multiple litigations. 5. Whether the proposed amendment constitutionally or fundamentally changes the nature and character of the case. 6. As a general rule, the court should decline amendment if a fresh suit on the amended claims would be barred by the limitation on the date of the application. The above principles make it clear, dear friends, that the courts have ample power to allow the application for amendment of the plaint. However, it must be satisfied that the same is required in the interest of the justice and for proper determination of the real question of controversy between the parties. The powers under Order 6, Rule 17 are required to be judiciously applied. At the same time, both the parties can argue on these factors whether the plaintiff is entitled for the amendment or not. Dear friends, it is a very effective tool to remove the anomalies in your case or to smartly bring something new to the notice of the court. The amended pleadings will definitely go a long way in changing the result of the case. If you have realized that there is a necessity of the amendment, if you have realized there is something new which is required to be brought on the record, or if you have realized that there is a subsequent event, please make sure that you amend the pleadings immediately. This right to carry amendment is available to the plaintiff and can be exercised immediately if you are a smart lawyer. Dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed it, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share this video if you are a student of the law. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.